Okay, with the goblet done, we're going to move on to a quick bowl project to show some more turning techniques and how to do them with carbide tools. So I've left this bowl kind of rough. I cut the corners off of a square blank basically. I could have cut it round, but I wanted to show you how easily the roughing gouge can, or the square carbide rougher can rough this into a circle. You could also just rough it from this side and just go ahead and shape your bowl, but I want to show you how to make this perfectly round first. Make a tenon on the bottom, all with the square carbide cutter, and then shape the outside, everything with the square cutter. So just like that, we're nice and round. We've got a little flat spot here, that's okay. I'm going to turn a tenon now, and then we'll shape the outside of the bowl. Okay, my tenon's down to size. To cut the dovetail, I'm just going to go up on the side a little bit. Just rotate the cutter a little bit. Bring it in. You've got your dovetail. Kind of been in a hurry here. I'm getting a couple of catches. But there we go. There's a good dovetail. Now we're just going to shape the outside of the bowl. I'm going to move the camera a little bit so we can get the tool maneuvered in here. Okay, I brought the camera around to the back of the lathe. There's not really a great spot. I need to get an overhead mount really for the camera, but I don't have one. So I'm going to move my tool rest around here so I can work around the edge of the bowl. The outside of the bowl, again using the square carbide tool, I'm just going to shape it around. This square tool is the best tool for shaping outside corners. Outside curves, excuse me. Just keep going until you get the shape you want, what you like, what you're looking for. I think I'm going to cut a... Oh, let's do some shear scraping first on the outside to blend these tool marks. For shear scraping, I'm going to use the Hunter Osprey tool. Just like you would a bowl gouge for shear scraping. Turn it on its side like this. Basically, if you consider this has a flute, which it doesn't, but if it had a flute, it would be right here. Close the flute all the way. Do your shear scraping. There's a shear scraping maneuver. If you're outside, so let's turn this off and take a look at the outside here, and let's see if there's any torn end grain, and there is a little bit, which doesn't surprise me because we roughed that pretty quick. So I'm going to do maybe a nice finish cut using the osprey tool this time, just as I would a bowl gouge, to go around in a nice slow cut here. Ride the bevel. And that torn end grain is just about gone. I think I'm going to move this in a bit and take one more pass. Let's go in the other direction this time. One good rule of thumb, roughing cuts always done with a flat scraper carbide tool, finishing cuts with the cup tool. Either this one or the shear cutter from Harrison Specialties. Alright, there is no more torn end grain at all on this thing. I'm going to do some sanding, then we'll turn it around and I'll show you some hollowing. Alright, turn it around here. We're going to do some hollowing. I'm going to start with the Glint tool, this cupped diamond cutter for hollowing. And before we start, I'm going to show you, basically it's the same as a bowl gouge. You're going to establish the cut, move it on in, riding the bevel here since it's a cupped tool. So let's go ahead and give that a try. This is a small bowl, so I'm running it pretty quickly. Coming in a little bit high, actually. I think I'll bring the tool rest down a bit. I think that's my problem. There we go. That's better. So you can shift the wood pretty quickly this way. I'm using the flat spot on this hexagon bar here. It's helping quite a bit. So that's one way. We have the Mike Hunter Osprey tool, used just like a bowl gouge here. I'm riding the bevel here. With this tool, remember I showed you can also just stick it straight in on a spindle. You can do that here too. I'm not riding the bevel. Basically a scraping cut here. But even this little cutter, you're removing a lot of wood. That was actually really good on this wood. Excuse me. My go-to for hollowing a bowl is just the round carbide cutter because it's the biggest cutter, biggest radius cutter, and it removes a lot of wood. Just go straight in, cutter dead on center. You can see just how fast you can remove the wood there. If you go from rim to center in one motion like that, you'll get a smoother transition here from the edge to the bottom. You'll still have to feel with your finger for where you might miss and get a ridge or two. Now I'm still a little thick going around the transition from the side to the bottom, so I'm going to work on that with this round cutter still. Okay, I'm going to keep going on the hollowing and then I'll bring you back in a little bit. Alright, I finished hollowing and now I want to get a good final cut. I'm going to use the shear cutter and finisher from Harrison Specialties. Starting in the middle, I'm just going to work my way right out here, swing the handle around to keep the angle of cutting so I can just shear cut all the way to the rim. Okay, there's a good finished cut. Virtually no torn end grain except on the rim here. I think I might take another little pass. Getting thin there on the rim, so it's making a lot of noise. That pretty much took care of that. Okay, so I think we're done hollowing here. I'm going to do some sanding. We'll turn it around one more time and finish the bottom. Okay, so I've turned the bowl around in the coal jaws here. I just put a piece of paper towel here to sort of pad it. I'm going to tear the corners off at least so they don't get in my way, but I don't want to, scratch the rim of my bowl as I do this. I just want to get rid of the foot. My goal here is to get rid of this entire foot. I have a tiny indentation here, so there's basically going to be no foot on this bowl. Now, if I were using traditional gouges, I would probably use a spindle gouge or a small bowl gouge or something to get rid of this foot. So in its place, I'm going to use the Easy Wood Tools Diamond detail tool to just eat my way out. Now the trick here is you want to keep all of the pressure into the bowl like this so it doesn't pop out. You don't want to be pushing any that way. So I'm not going to go in this direction. That will force the bowl out of the jaws. I want to get everything in that direction. So I'm going to have to move the camera just a little bit. Pardon me. So I can get in here with the tool to remove everything. I have the tailstock up for support. I'm just going to eat away slowly, just like I would with a spindle gouge. Just take some small bites. I would be doing the same thing if this wasn't in the coal jaws. My bowl was too big and it was just jam chucked against the chuck. I'd be doing the same thing with the tailstock here. Want to make sure we're slightly undercut here. I left enough room in the bottom of the bowl to make it slightly undercut, and it is. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this last little bit here, and then we'll sand this down carefully. Once this bit is gone, of course, I'll have no more tailstock support, so I'm going to be careful. I often like to add a little detail to the bottom of the bowl, just to prove that I paid attention to it. So I'm going to use the sharp diamond tool here, detail gouge or scraper, and just add 3 little circles there. Okay, I'm going to slow this way down and sand just the bottom, and then we're going to be done. I'll be right back. Okay, we've gone through a lot of stuff in this video, and it's probably a little longer than my usual videos, but hopefully we've gotten all the carbide tools demonstrated here. I've got a little recap of what we did. So roughing, we did roughing of a spindle and of a bowl with the square carbide cutter. I never use anything but the square cutter for roughing. Beads and coves, we did the round carbide cutter and the Hunter Osprey tool for that, and we also used the 2 diamond cutters, the one from Easy Wood Tools that's slightly round on the end, and the one from Harrison Specialties that's pointed on the end. And we got some beads done with that too. With the Osprey cutter, remember we went straight in for one of those coves, and then we also kind of rode the bevel like a spindle gouge, and that worked pretty well. On the goblet, we did some roughing with the square cutter again. We did the outside with the round carbide cutter and with the Hunter Osprey tool to show the bevel rubbing. We did a hollowing with the cupped carbide tool and with the Teagle hollowing tool from the UK, and we brought everything down to the stem with as if we were using a detailed spindle gouge. We used the Easy Woods detailer to bring the wood down to the stem, and we turned a couple of beads with the pointed diamond tip from Harrison Specialties. Then on the bowl, again roughing with the square, we shaped the outside and we formed a tenon with the square carbide cutter. I always do use that for the outside curves. And for hollowing, we used the Teagle hollowing tool, which worked great. Once I found the bevel and once I got the tool rested the right spot, that was working really well. We also used the round carbide cutter, which is my go-to for hollowing bowls. It moves a lot of wood really fast. And for final cut inside, we used the little round cupped carbide tool to get that final cut to give it a good finish. And we also did some shear scraping on the outside with the osprey tool held on its side to get that scraping action just like you would a bowl gouge. So pretty much all the basic cuts that we do at Woodturners we did here with carbide tools. It takes some practice. It's a different technique. You got to get used to the tools, but you can do it. A couple of things I'd like to say about subscribers. So we're past the 400 subscriber mark on my channel, SJ Woodworks, and I really appreciate that. Thanks for everybody who watches and subscribes and comments and likes my videos. I'd like to push past 500, so anybody who wants to hasn't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button, and let's try and get over 500 subscribers this week. And anybody who's making your own videos, if you want to share my video with other people or point your friends here to let them see what we're doing with carbide tools here. I'd love to see it get over 500 subscribers this week. I appreciate again everybody who subscribed. And one thing before we go, I just want to send out thoughts towards Captain Eddie Castelin and his family. He's been sick, and I just want to have my thoughts go out to him. I'm sure he's not watching this video. He's got other things to worry about right now, but my thoughts go out to him, and I hope everybody else can spare a moment to think of Captain Eddie and his family. We all appreciate his YouTube videos and all the information we've gotten from him and all of the time and effort he's given to help us all learn about wood turning. That's it for this week. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week on SJ Woodworks. Bye.